Hello friends, and good evening. Normal service has been resumed. It was slightly something of a departure yesterday where I introduced you to my meditation and prayer rituals. Had mostly, I think, good feedback. Some people said that they would incorporate something similar into their prayer life, and others said that they do something quite similar, which was rather nice. I was expecting more of a fallout, a lack of subscribers, all bailing quickly to swim as far away from this channel as possible. All that ghastly Eastern stuff, Japanese scrolls and terms and sitting cross-legged. Oh dear, 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 very dangerous. Oh, by the way, haven't really smoked this for some time. It's my Turk's Head meerschaum. Can't smoke the little one because I bust it. I've got one other, which is a billiard. Sometimes I use that one. Not very often. I ought to get it out more. I'm smoking my go-to at the moment, the Rattray's Exotic Passion. And I'm down to about half a tin now. So I might have to do another one of my under-the-radar missions into the United Germany. Not quite Eastern Bloc, not quite behind enemy lines, but I'm going to have to effect a raid to acquire more cheaply, I hope. I don't know how many lives a cat has. I've only ever bought from abroad once. Well, that's not true, actually. I did actually order a load of cigars once from Switzerland. And there was, again, they were impounded by customs and excise, and I had to pay a huge amount of money, and I refused to. But the good thing was they didn't process the payment for the cigars either, the Swiss people, so I didn't lose any money on that one. But I believe you will lose money if you don't pay. If you don't pay the customs and excise, if they catch you, they just destroy the tobacco, and you've lost whatever you've paid, 50 quid, 100 quid, whatever you've paid for your little cachet. But as I don't think I can get Rattray's Exotic Passion here, you may be able to. My normal outlet doesn't sell it. So, can't get it from them. But I'm going to have another little look on the internet, I think. So yes, I'm smoking my lovely smoke from the meerschaum, of course. I cleaned this today. I wasn't getting a very good draw on it at all. Working fine now. It was a hell of a job getting a pipe cleaner through it, but I did in the end, and I got it back out again with some pliers. So that's a long overdue probably clean for the meerschaum. Just drinking an IPA because it's red hot outside, and yeah, it's refreshing. Talking of pipes, I attempted to get the varnish off my Eric Nording pipe. I assume it's varnish. I'm not entirely sure now. I ordered, ladies, some nail polish remover. Not the sort of thing you'd find in most priests' shopping basket. Well, you might with some of them. But that's a story for another day. Because I read somewhere online that you could remove varnish from a pipe with acetone. Anyway, I ordered it. Came yesterday. Didn't work at all. Didn't even touch it. I put it on the Eric Nording. Didn't even touch it. So I think it might be polyurethane or something. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm always being told off how I pronounce things. Yesterday, somebody's only comment about my meditation and prayer video was, you didn't pronounce quinoa right. It's not quinoa, it's quinoa. Thank you for that. My life now is immeasurably improved because of your input. I'm always pronouncing things wrong. Who cares? It's free world. You can call anything you want, what you want. I think that's more fun, isn't it? I mean, when I was growing up, when you read Don Quixote, it was called Don Quixote. Some of you are old enough to remember that, probably. So I don't care how I pronounce things. I do with the Scots Islay whiskey, which is that right? Islay? Islay whiskey. And I tell you what, some of those Islay whiskies, they've got some bloody hell, they've got some names, haven't they? Get your head around that lot. Is it Booberhaven that I sometimes have? Have I pronounced that correctly? Bunnahaven. That's an extraordinary sounding. A lot of them got these odd labels. But it's fun, isn't it? I mean, language is fun. Until it, of course, gets in the way of truth and God, and which it does all the time. You see, the problem with a lot of people is they're so wedded to semantics. Spend all the time correcting people for not believing in the correct manner. And they get easily triggered, you see, because they have a very clearly defined set of doctrines and rituals. They believe they're impervious, you see, to change or challenge. A little bit like Muslims. You know, they get irate if you try to challenge anything in the Quran or any of article of faith. And you have that, of course, in the Catholic Church. You have it in the Orthodox Church. You probably have it in the Baptist Church, I suppose. So some people get exercised because they don't see any wisdom in the East. They couldn't care less about Zen masters. They couldn't care less about Buddhist masters. They couldn't care less about any of that developed wisdom, which actually pre-existed Christ, most of it. But it's a very odd way to live, though, isn't it? A very blinkered way to live, where you basically you adhere to your set of rules and to hell with everybody else, because they're hellbound anyway. Probably. But of course, you see, what it shows is a weakness of faith and belief in their own system. That's why they get so exercised, because they don't really have that rock, that foundation, which is Christ, within them. They cling to external forms and external dogmas, thinking that they can hide behind them. But you take away those doctrines and dogmas and routines, and you wonder how much real faith in Christ, how much real direct experience of the Holy Spirit is actually within them. Because the person who is properly centered in Christ doesn't feel any, not challenged in the least by anything or anyone. Because they know that Christianity is not a set of rules. It's a relationship. And going back to what I've talked about on other videos, it's about being connected, isn't it? I mean, look at the spousal relationship. I mean, you don't love your husband because he adheres to a certain set of rules. Mind you, you'll get in trouble if he doesn't obey the rules. You don't love him because he just obeys the rules and puts up the odd shelf for you and changes tyres on the car or the battery, which I can't at the moment. Well, I had a bloke come out and do it, didn't I? No, I can on the Land Rover, of course. Anyway, talking about the Land Rover, I digress. I changed, all the lights are working now. There was a side light, you'll remember, on the Land Rover that wasn't working. I think it was a bulb issue. Changed the bulb. I'm not even going to check the bulb that I took out. I'm going to throw it away because I bought a whole bunch of them quite cheaply. So I've got a load of them. So I'm not minded to sort of keep the one I took out and test it or anything. It clearly must have been that. When I held it up, I couldn't see any breaks in it or anything, but who knows? So, yeah, that was fun. The bit that's not fun is that blessed caging around the lights. That is more aggro than fixing the Land Rover. Because you've got the wings, and you've got a nut one side, a bolt the other, and you've got to get under one and secure the other, and oh dear, dear, dear. And I invested, because somebody mentioned it, in those, I don't know, what do you call them? Self-tapping. There's a sort of, they use them for, I don't know. I think they use them on fairings for motorbikes, and I think they said they use it for the floor, attaching the flooring on a Land Rover, I don't know. Anyway, that was hopeless. I put them in, and the bloody thing round the back, the square thing, rectangle, the self-tap, whatever, just twizzles around. And if you hold it rock tight in place, and then I was trying to screw the screw bit in, it just sort of shears, into the waste of time for that particular job. So what I'm going to have to do now is buy more nuts and bolts to go through those the sides of the Land Rover, because I think half of them are lost in the gravel now underneath the car. So that they were more of an embuggerment than the actual sorting the lights out and the electrics, getting those blessed things on. It should be quite a simple job. It would actually be a lot simpler if the screws that were going in, the bolts, weren't so bloody short. I mean, because there's nothing going on at the other side, so you could have longer ones that make life a lot easier in terms of, because you have to find, you've got to get underneath and sort of do both at the same time. It's madness. And anyway, I'll sort it out. And I don't know what those nuts, I should have brought one in. There's nuts which can be secured with a screwdriver too, a flathead screwdriver, if you know what I mean. So they could be put on with a wrench. Or you can screw them on as well. I don't know what those are called, and I don't even know what size I need, but I don't think it matters too much. The holes look fairly accommodating in terms of size, but I'm going to order some of those, I think, and just get on with it. It's a shame because I quite like the look of the other ones. Bloody useless. And didn't work, unfortunately. But, I mean, I think the tip was a good tip, but I don't think... sorry, I nearly sent my meerschaum flying there, but it didn't work. Well, in my case, it didn't work in this particular circumstance. I can't believe it's the end of the day. It's a Friday. I completed and exchanged on a Friday on my property up in Yorkshire. And the process of selling a house was torturous. I've done a whole video on it in my back catalogue. And it just took forever. And Friday, of course, is the day the solicitors all sort of pack up for the weekend. And so I kept saying, this Friday we'll exchange. Friday came, nothing happened. Next Friday, this Friday, we'll exchange by this Friday. Friday, nothing happened. And this went on forever. So every Friday now, I say to my friend, my clerk of works, who lives in Wales, I said, this Friday I'll exchange. Even though I've exchanged, obviously. It's just a silly joke. Not very funny, really. I don't know why I mentioned it. Going back to the mat and doing my meditation, I have got a guest who sits with me now and meditates. No idea what sex it is. I came in here primarily to reduce, as I said on my video, distractions. Now I'm severely distracted by my meditation partner, who is a tiny little thing of indeterminate sex, might be transgender. And it's a little shrew. I was used to the field mice nestling in my feet as I meditated on the veranda. They literally did. It was lovely. You'd be sitting there, and these little furry things would be almost falling asleep in your feet. It was wonderful. And their fur felt gorgeous. And the little squirrels, there's lots of little baby ones, and they're only a few inches big. And they're quite fearless. I've got them at the moment feeding on my veranda. So when I came here, I thought, well, I'll have no distractions from wildlife. The wildest thing in this cottage is myself. Anyway, lo and behold, there I am, lost in awe and wonder and praise, when I notice something going scurrying across and back and forth, and in front of me at one point. So I'm rather hoping that this little shrew will nestle in my feet too. I'm not minded to chase it out the house. He's got much as right to live in here as I have. But anyway, yes, so I was quite pleased that I didn't get more rancor from my video than one might get for doing such a video. I did get some funny questions on Facebook, because I post my videos on Facebook, and that's all I do on Facebook now. I'm bored of Facebook. I'd rather have this little community because there's a lot more interaction. Oh, talking about interaction, I've got some shout-outs. I've had loads of coffees bought me recently. There was Kirk from Kansas. He bought me a load of coffees. And this is the second time. And then there's another fellow, Craig. He bought me a load of coffees. And that's the second time he's done so. So thanks both to Craig and to Kirk. And then there was a Kevin that got me a coffee. All in 1 week. Lovely. So anyway, I was pleased that there wasn't too much rancor as a result of what might have looked like an Eastern practice. There was only one fellow, and if you want to know what he said, have a look in the comments, and then you can see my reply. I suspect he's a Buddhist, Zenist, and so therefore he would find what I did confusing. But I'll leave you to have a little look at the comments if you're interested. And you put your 2 penneth worth in. But it's very interesting, isn't it? When somebody, even when you're doing Zen, somebody accuses you of not doing it the right way. You know, the one religious discipline that requires no judgment, because making a judgment is you're getting subject and objects. So, but his very observation is unzen. I think he was rather exercised by the fact that I was using Christian prayers, and he seemed to think I was using them during the period of silence, which you're not. And saying, well, you should have mushin, no mind. Well, of course, I've explained no mind to you before, where you remove all the distractions and everything. And, well, frankly, I do remove all the distractions, and I'm not praying verbal auricular prayers while I'm actually in those moments of quietness and solitude, and I'm not thinking about anything. I basically just replied, well, what about all the Buddhists with the Lotus Sutra? And they chant that. And that doesn't mean that they're not performing what they would call Zen. It's just like an intro. It's part of their liturgy. But there we go. But it was nice to hear from him. I've been doing this a long time. I know all the ins and outs. I've read all the Buddhist works. I've read all the Christian works. I quoted back at him Thomas Merton, who was a Trappist monk, Catholic priest. He was very big on the East and the practice of contemplative prayer. I believe he had, I think the first book I bought from him was called Contemplative Prayer. I've always been attracted to that sort of thing. Always. Long before it became fashionable. Anyway, so good. I'm glad I did it anyway. I think I inadvertently inhaled then. Despite pronouncing quinoa, I'm sort of relieved in a way because I should have been picked up on my Latin. Because I was rather nervous, because you're quite naked, aren't you? And exposed doing a video like that. And I had just literally had my afternoon nap. So I was bleary-eyed and half asleep. And because I was aware the camera's rolling, I got a bit tongue-tied during parts of the Latin. I approximated to the correct pronunciation. But I made a few little, well, I left some little bits out. And, so anybody who has watched it and in Christian charity has refrained from commenting on my use of the Latin, that's why. It is a mouthful, and I don't read it off any cards or anything. I've memorised a lot of the Latin. When I celebrated Mass in York, the city of York, I did it all the time in Latin, mostly. The Holy Mass and confession. Well, not the actual conversation parts of... but I always absolve people in the old rite and used Latin. Tego e absolvo. I like the Latin. And actually it does help because prayer essentially is not a cognitive exercise anyway, is it? As love isn't when you're cuddling your wife or your boyfriend. You don't sit there analysing it, feeling that you have to make some sort of auricular confession while you're cuddling. Anyway, I'll leave it because I don't know where we've got to in time. It's a lovely day here. Boiling. Water the plants again. I love doing that. I love actually getting pails of water from my little well. It's very it slows you down, you know. Chopping wood and catching water. And something rather nice about washing outside. Washing your face. Showering outside. And that's about it. What I will do is I'll just give you a picture as I finish today's video of what this room that I'm now sitting in looked like not very long ago. Absolute tip. I thought you might like to see the contrast. There is a whole video. It was taken from a video, so it's not a particularly good picture. But just to let you know that progress has occurred. And with that, I think I'll just let you go. I hope you have a good evening. Enjoy your suppers tonight. Enjoy a little noggin or a cup of tea, whatever you like. And I'll sign out for now. And see you on the next video. God willing. I've got to go and order some ruddy screws and some bolts and some nuts now. Because I've got my cages on my landy hanging off. Cheerio.